Hey, okay, so we are going to now proceed. Don't need those. Where's the twinkling? Oh, this. We're going up. I was worried maybe I missed something, but I don't think I did. Probably. You know me. I highly doubt I got everything. But I tried.
I remember when me and the crowd put you in that sub. You were no more than 2. You were my ace in the hole. But you were also the closest thing I ever had to a son. And that's why this hurts. Betrayal, kid. Life ain't strictly business.
Well, at least you have some sort of thought process. Hello. Well. Yeah.
Go! Go now! Hit them with the needle!
Come and get it! Get I'm not gonna put you down! You think you got a shot at this? I'm barely getting started! Come and get it! You think I'm alone in this world? I got more than enough bugs to watch my back while I recharge. You let...
No.
You think it'll be that easy?
Where is he?
Here it is! Need a minute. Then I'm gonna cut
Do you need a minute?
it. Come and get it! I'll get you!
Alright.
Catch my breath. And I'm gonna bury you and all that.
Yeah, I'm so afraid.
I had you built. I sent you topside. I called you back, showed you what you was capable of. Even that life you thought you had, that was something I dreamed up and had tattooed inside your head. Now, if you don't call that family, I don't know what is. And now,
Harvest. Harvest. My children. They're just like me. Murderous. As far as like...
They offered you this city. And you refused it. And what did you do instead? What I've come to expect of you. You saved them. You gave them the one thing that was stolen from them. A chance. A chance to learn. To find love. To live. And in the end, what was your reward? You never said. But I think I know. A family.
Of course, my children. My sweet children. So, listen, I didn't know how short this was gonna be. I thought it'd be a bit longer, so I'm sorry if this is a little shorter. I probably could have included the last one. I just wanted to be sure that I was ready, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing it. I enjoy everything about this game. If this is loud, I think I'm gonna skip it. Okay. Director's commentary. What is that even? What? Oh. Wow. So, what is the museum? What does this mean? What does it all mean? This is cool. It like features concept art. Ew. These don't exist in the game. A gatherer? Oh, wait. Yeah, he doesn't either. Interesting. But they're concepts. You either. Maybe there's a way to get it to... No. Early concepts of Rosie. Well, obviously, but... L? They went with a much more simplistic design. Which I'm kind of sad about when I see these. Though it would have been much scarier to have these sort of guys pursue you, I guess. So maybe that was a factor. Yeah. At least they got to make them. I'm sure they were like disappointed that so many cool designs didn't get made. So it's really awesome that they were able to go in and do that. Slime from Slug. Holy shit. Yeah, that would have scared the shit out of me. I don't know if I could have played a game where creatures like these existed. Because I'm a baby. I think that's it. Wow. I can just exit the main menu, yeah. That was neat. I didn't know that existed. Challenge room, interesting.
The illusion of choice is a thinly veiled dynamic that drives many single-player gaming experiences.
It's
While
what's his
many
face.
developers spend a lot of time trying to convince players that choice is real and authentic in their games, the truth more often is that choice is a superficial concept in gaming narrative. BioShock confronted this idea head-on, searing into our minds a innocuous three-word phrase with an unforgettable new meaning. Would you kindly?
Sorry guys, you can totally like leave. I'm just watching these. But regardless, thank you so much for watching. If you stay with me, yeah, that's what's his face. You know, he does like the game awards.
Of course, one of the most memorable moments in the game is the "Would you kindly"
That little
phrase
sister.
and the reveal of you know, how that's been motivating the player throughout the entire game. It's still, to me, one of the most classic kind of narrative moments in games in the past decade. What's interesting about that phrase is that it didn't always start like that. Can you tell us sort of about the evolution of sort of the the conditioning of the player? And there was once Excelsior was the phrase once.
Yeah, this is. I'm trying to recall some of this. So we had the idea, because we had the Andrew Ryan scene very early, and we knew sort of all the events that would happen. There were phrases before there was "Would you kindly." The notion existed, what it meant and what it was, but we didn't actually have the phrase "Would you kindly" until later. So we had a bunch of terms we threw in there. And like Excelsior was.
Not everybody likes 2. I'm gonna play 2 though, and I hope that people enjoy it.
It would have been like Excelsior.
Because I actually do enjoy 2.
There are some things when you're making games you just sort of throw in as like. We need something.
Cool
we need
why don't you head over there, Excelsior?
And then it sits there for a year. Right. And then all of a sudden you kind of forget it's not good, right? And then until somebody comes along and says, dude.
Seriously?
Yeah. Or you meant it to be like a stub in. You never meant it to actually gain traction, and then you're like, oh crap.
But that sense of some phrase or word being repeated throughout the game that you wouldn't really realize its meaning until later, that was there very early on.
Yes, yeah. And the fact that you would have something that seemed like a non-thing and then came back at you like a freight train later on.
Yeah, someone said Excelsior, I'd be like, what are you doing?
Sit. Would you kindly?
Oh, I wanted to say that the improvements...
Would you?
They're good. I wouldn't say that, like, this remaster was, like, mind-blowing, though. But it was good.
Man chooses.
But I know there's not a ton you can do when it comes to... I don't think they put it... I mean, they put stuff into it, but you know what I mean.
The sort of meta-narrative of, being in a game,
I don't know if they'll ever make a 4th game.
And making these decisions,
and sometimes I
but
stay
then
up at
obviously
night
realizing
thinking,
that the,
there will never be a 4th BioShock,
choice
and
was
that's what keeps
conditioned in
me
a
up
way
at
that they
night.
would react to that. That was, sort of a
accidentally
new
murdering
idea for a game.
like
Where did
2
that
little
come
sisters.
from on your side? I mean, was there sort of a deeper,
I love them, but
sort
oops.
of, meaning behind it?
No, look, I think I was always interested in the concept, whether it's, Oedipus, not to get too pointy-headed here, but Oedipus sort of thinking he has, I'm going to leave, this city and go to another city because there's been this prophecy about me and I'm going to avoid my fate and I'm in complete control, and then finding out he's not in control at all, to the Manchurian Candidate, which is a story I love about, somebody who you find out is just a puppet, living a life of a man, and Fight Club. I always love those kind of stories about who am I and what is my agency in this world. Because, look, we struggle. I think everybody struggles that. How much we really have control over, and how much is our boss or parents or whatever telling us what to do. So
many thoughts.
That seemed like a natural thing for a story, and because it came from movies, that idea a lot, and plays. I don't think it was there was a lot of, it hadn't been explored in games really, and games are particularly interesting because games.
Because you feel like you are interacting with choice,
and you're really being, most games, especially at the time, you're really just being railroaded down a corridor. It's very easy to underestimate gamers, and I think probably I did a little of my own underestimation there, that it would be a little too pointy-headed for people, but people seem to really engage, because it spoke to an experience they had, a struggle as a gamer they've always had, which is like, I want to control, but how much control do I really have in this game?
True. And Sean, I mean, it was also something that, was a great surprise when you played through the game, and I'm sure even for people on the team, did everyone know that when Ken was sort of doing it, or it was revealed as people played through it?
I think, at some point the entire team knew. It wasn't, it was something that was talked about with a smaller group before.
He didn't work on 2
it was
either.
brought to the
Or
entire
maybe they're
team.
including
Early on
2?
when you heard
no,
the idea,
I know something happened with 2.
Clicks, right? You're like, okay.
And that's why
I
people
totally
don't like it
this.
as
Did
much
people
as
get it?
I
I
do.
seem to remember people looking at me like I was like a lunatic.
Maybe
That
not
scene
the
goes on
specifics, and
forever.
maybe it's the Excelsior, or maybe you're talking about the Excelsior time,
yeah.
but the idea that you don't really have choice, and exactly like you said, you played through how many video games, and everybody's game is going to end the same way. You're going to kill these people, you're going to pass through these checkpoints, and you think you have a choice, but ultimately the only real choice is stop playing the game. So the idea that we're kind of
It is what I've done in
that
some
on
games.
resonated.
Haven't we all?
Now the actual, like, is it Excelsior, or is it the Latin phrase I forgot, or if it's would you kindly?
See, here's how I remember it, and I could be, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I can remember being so surprised by the outside reaction, because I remember the internal reaction being completely nobody connected or engaged to it. I mean, we worked on it.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of surprised by the outside reaction, because I kind of thought it was like, as I said, it's a bit academic, right? Look,
Got
it
like a
also be a
David
function of-
Duchovny
We're
nose.
playing it close to the vest.
I could be misremembering it, or it could also just be a function of nobody making the game had
Sorry,
the experience of
I
playing it
spaced out a
through
little.
and getting to that
So they,
moment.
Yeah,
that's what I mean, like it was
you're-
revealed to them in advance of really playing it, so
Yeah.
it wasn't a surprise.
Yeah, they had seen it in all its really half-assed, development
Well,
stages along
and
the way.
out of order.
Yeah, out of order and all
And
that.
it's not really something you can play test over an afternoon because it takes a little while to get to that point.
You need to lack the knowledge about
Yeah.
what the game is to be able to sort of have that experience all the way through. I know you guys have talked about the idea of Atlas, the voice actor changing, and it was, I guess, very important that you nailed that actor, right? And you trusted that actor until there was sort of the Fontaine reveal and sort of understanding that.
Yes, trust was everything there, right? And so there was something about either the actor or the writing or the accent that just people immediately said, this guy's no good.
Right.
From the first Atlas we had, because you have to trust this guy, and if you don't, there's no trust. There's no punch in the gut. I think we've really focused on making him have personal stakes in the story as well. That he had his family trapped. Even, of course, it was all fiction, right? But he had skin in the game. He sort of spoke to you as a friend, and especially because the whole world was so hostile to you. I think it took a while to get that exactly right.
Listen, I've got a family. I need to get them out of here. But the splicers have cut me off from them. If you
Yeah, I
can
trusted
reach them
him in the
Neptune's
beginning, but then
bounty
again, I
and
didn't have
they
anything else to
just
trust.
maybe- I know you must feel like the unluckiest man in the world right now, but you're the only hope I'll ever see my wife and child again.
Sean, what do you hope is the kind of lasting legacy of BioShock? 10 years hence, a lot of things you guys were doing, have sort of become common now, right? With upgrades and moral choices in games and whatnot. But it was really pioneering work a decade ago. When you reflect on it, what do you hope people remember the game for sort of pushing forward?
For me, it's telling a story with the medium and how we used everything available to us to tell that story. We used the environment to set up the backstory of Rapture and really create a sense of space, which I think is vitally important to getting the players to trust that, to sit down and kind of like just be in the space and let these things happen. Even the radio logs, the rudimentary animation that we had at the time. I mean, we really sat down with the tools that we had and at our disposal and tried to tell a meaningful story. Maybe not meaningful, but something that would be memorable to people that they could take away and, like you said earlier, have that water cooler moment where they're excited enough to talk about it after they put the controller down.
Oh,
So for me, I think the legacy is
oh, hell
that
yes. The time I've
it was a
spent.
story well told.
For me, it was a sense of place, being like the Rapture is a real thing, even though it's not. It's actually a very crude, from the time, a relatively crude bunch of polygons and texture maps. It's only, the original game is only in 720, I think. And I played a lot of it when we were testing it on a 14-inch, SD television. That it still felt like a sense of place in the music and the characters, that it's a real place. And I think that my memories of the BioShock games was that I take away that Rapture's a real place and Elizabeth's a real person. Those are the two sort of big things that stick with me with those two games. And that's sort of what I'll always, carry forward with me in my life.
They just pretend to didn't
BioShock
exist.
is,
But
it's
it
a
didn't work
place,
on
but
its
as
own.
we saw with Infinite, I mean, it's an idea and it's a sort of a type of game. I think a lot of people say like, oh, this is a type of experience. When you think about, your career, where you guys want to go, I mean, that idea of those types of games, do you miss it now that you've sort of moved on to other things now, or do you feel like it's sort of, you've closed that chapter?
I mean, it's always a part of what you do. Like, System Shock 2 was a part of BioShock. But it wasn't System Shock 2. It was you're growing past that and trying out new things. I think
I've never
BioShock and
played
BioShock
System
Infinite
Shock
and even
or
going back
2.
to SWAP 4, those will always be a part of my experience as a game developer and what we're trying to do with the medium. So I don't think it's something that you just draw a line and say, we'll never return, because there's always lessons that you can learn.
Oh, and I
things
promise
that
I
you
won't make
bring
us
with
watch
you
all of them.
to the next
I was just
project
watching,
that you're
so.
working on.
I don't think the new game is going to, people are not going to be surprised that this game is a new games from us. They're going to see a lot of what we had done before in terms of world building and aspects of storytelling. The goal is to sort of, move away from the you really have no choice kind of thing, and that's a very, 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 very hard problem, which we spent years working on. But we're building upon a foundation of stuff we've done before. Just trying to go in a
I
different
know
direction
that
with it, but
I don't know if
it's
he's with
always
Irrational
going to be
Games.
part of our DNA.
City where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, rapture can become your city as well.
Oh, Ghost Story Games is what it's called now. Yeah, I believe he... That's what I meant. I don't know what they're working on. Hold on. Yeah, apparently nothing. Well, that they've announced. I believe. There is always hope. And I think it's too... it's too good to let go of, if that makes sense. That's the hope anyway. But anyway, thank you guys so much. And if you stuck it out this long, wow, amazing. You can probably find these on YouTube, just to be real. And I suck, because I did not unlock them. I might have seen them and then not clicked them. I feel like I clicked more reels than this, but okay. Alright, thank you guys so much, and I will see you for BioShock 2, and then Infinite, which I'm very excited about Infinite, because Infinite is everything. The combat system in Infinite gives me life. Okay, bye guys.